Hey, what is going on you guys? It's Epic here and welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video I have an absolutely disgusting interaction I want to show you guys that works with the Highcaliber firmware. Now, a little backstory to this before I show you what the deal is here. Myself and CZ, who is a part of the Redux team, an absolutely fantastically talented theory crafter in the community, were testing out a new build, and while experimenting with firmware we noticed something about Highcaliber which completely changes the outlook people are going to have on this firmware. So typically you're probably going to look at this firmware and think 25% projectile speed, 10% gun damage, not too great, and bullets pierce enemies. Is it going to really help me in a mobbing situation? Maybe, but against a boss this is just not going to be worth it. Well, my friends, we have something very exciting to show you today. So, it all started when we were using a rocket launcher in the build, and we thought, is this going to potentially have an adverse effect on the rocket because it may just pierce through and not get the full effect of its damage off on the enemy? But it was not until shortly after this we asked the question of, actually, what if this does something else entirely? What happens if when it hits the enemy, it's going to blow up like it normally would, pass through them, hit the ground, and then explode again? And when we tested that, you'll see, actually, it didn't happen. The rocket does pass through, and it does explode behind, but what's interesting, it still gets the same damage off on the target before it hits behind them. So you are able, if you want, to get double the damage by simply shooting at a target from above or the side at their feet and hitting the ground, where you will hit double the damage. And I'm not sure if you can see the damage numbers there effectively, but you will hit way more damage this way than you would before if you had simply just shot at the target normally and let the bullet go elsewhere. If you shoot with the rocket with high cal on, you basically get double the damage because of the impact. Now, for the sake of testing, what I've gone ahead and done is change the time of day on my end, and I'm going to show you again what this looks like, this time in slow motion so you can see the number better. We're going to hit the target normally, and you're going to see it's around 38,000 that time, and if we let it go back to normal, and this time hit the ground with it, we're going to get a very different number. So this time doing it from above, we are going to get 58, and that is a much higher number. Now you might think that's pretty crazy, but this got us thinking, if this works, then what else works that typically you would think might not? And well, it's none other than the MIRV launchers, because these are very interesting. Let me show you what kind of jank we've got going on here. So everybody knows that with a MIRV launcher, the way it works is you fire it and it sets off basically a cluster bomb around the explosion, like so. You can see it makes these extra MIRVs here. Now, what happens is very peculiar. When you hit an enemy with this and it passes through, you'll see that it makes the MIRVs on impact, and also makes the MIRVs behind the enemy when it impacts a surface. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? I'll show you again in slow motion this time. When we hit the enemy dead on, it will make the MIRVs at the impact, and when it impacts its destination, it will do the same again, as you can faintly see behind the trees. And so because of this, this makes MIRVs with the Highcaliber firmware extremely powerful, because now if we just hit this enemy directly, I'm going to show you a rough estimate here. This isn't a precise test by any means, but a rough estimate. We got around what looked like 23 to 30k damage there, right? So nothing too crazy. Now on the flip side, if we hit this guy at the back who is against a surface with this, we are going to hit twice, and now we are hitting a way higher number. As you can see, it is genuinely disgusting how good this is. And unlike Vexbleed, which is very easy to get to, or even the recursive looping going on with Groundbreaker, this is something which I feel won't get changed because it kind of just makes sense. It would be really weird for the devs to go out of their way to fix this, and I don't think they will, meaning this is probably one of the highest damage methods for ordnance in the game right now. However, there is something important to bring up, and that is that for whatever reason, if you happen to have the proxy homing passive on one of these ordnance weapons, it's going to completely break this effect. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If I fire at this guy right here, it's going to home in on him, but it is not going to pass through him anymore, completely breaking this effect. So just be aware of that. We don't know why that happens. It just seems like a bug. At this point, it's kind of hard to tell what the bug is, whether it's on the base interaction or that interaction right there, but just something you should be aware of. But to give you an example of the potential damage output of this, this is my new build Blastoid Amon, which I'll have a link for in the description down below. And as you can see, the sort of damage we're going to output here, if we go ahead and I'm not going to fully buff, I won't do my action skill, but we'll do our rep kit and shield. And I'll show you the kind of damage you can output, because it is really, really, really disgusting. As you can see right there, you will get a ton of damage with this method. So just a quick one here to show you this interaction. I'm also showing it off in my build video, which is linked in the description down below. So if you want to try this out in a build, I highly suggest going to check that out. But this is absolutely disgusting, and that's why I wanted to show it off for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, have a good one guys, and I will check you all later.